What don't you like about the suburbs? Because I have this chat with people quite often, and there is a definite. There's two camps. You either love the city or you don't love the city, and people like the suburbs, but proximity to the city can affect other aspects of life too. So what was it about the suburbs that sort of wasn't for you?
I think. I guess it depends on which suburb, but even like we lived in Tatarangi for a while, which is a suburb with an identity and so on. But lots of suburbs kind of don't have an identity from my point of view. They're surprisingly quiet. If I go back to them these days, I kind of go, ooh, nothing much happening around here. There are things like, I often say that I see more of my neighbours now living here in the city centre than I ever did. In fact, probably no more than I ever did living out in the suburbs. Suburbs, you might know the people either side and the people over the back. But if you're going anywhere, invariably you're leaping in a car and driving off.
Yeah, that's right.
And so in the city centre, if you're in a hurry, sometimes it can be a bit problematic. You keep bumping into people who want to have a chat, which is lovely when you've got the time. It's really nice. And other times, in fact, on my way here, I had to kind of say, hi, I'll see you on X, Y, and Z.
I'm on the move. I'm in a hurry. I've got places to be. Yeah. There's so many benefits to living in the city and, living in apartments. The amount of, I think it gives you a lot more time to focus on other things because you're not out there mowing the lawns or trimming the trees or washing the house or whatever. That's all kind of left up to other people to take care of, essentially. So if your work's in the city, great. Then you're not sort of putting pressure on the transport system or anything like that. And what do you think about the intensification at the moment? Like, do you think that the powers that be are sort of going about that the right way, building apartments in the right places or the wrong places?
I think if we stepped back sort of, 10 or 15 years and they talked about these areas where intensification would happen, and it really only did happen in the city centre.
Yeah.
After, I forget when it was, they stopped kind of allowing people to create residential buildings in the city centre, but for a long time, through to the 90s, I think, from the 50s to the 90s, you weren't allowed to create new residences. And then there's this sort of sudden explosion of places. My only criticism about the powers that be would be what they're allowing through sometimes in terms of building. I accept that developers have a need to get their money out of their square meterage, but I think what we're failing to do, particularly as someone who's been involved in community development here, is create the spaces that people need to connect. That whole territory of, people can get pretty isolated, despite the fact that we're living cheek to jowl. I often joke about the fact that your opportunity to get to know someone is between the moment you get in the lift and the moment you get out the other end, because that's often the only communal space in some of these buildings.
Yeah, that's right.